I have discovered many secrets within Fortnite Chapter 5 that none of you have ever known before. Nah, this ain't a T5G clickbait video. I mean, none of you have ever heard of these things. Well, unless you follow my Twitter and saw this. Foundation is a woman now. What? How would The Rock actually look as a woman? You know what? I'd smash. This video will finally explain to you what timeline and where exactly the chapter 5 is located at in the Fortnite story. An answer we have been hunting for 2 months. But I finally found it! Then how there are alternate versions of the old characters now in the story. One of those being Foundation, whose alternate version is actually Hope. Yeah, the dude went from this to now a kitty loving wanting to marry Oscar girl. Now wait, put the guns down. Don't. I know what you're thinking right now.
Scyan, you stupid crazy me, stop cooking. This dude is yapping like mad but crazier. Me.
I will send my death to turn you into liquid gold. But anyways, to find out why Hope is actually Foundation, or why Valeria is Geno or Montague Midas, or Oscar Mew Mew, or Nisha is your mother, we need to understand many important secrets. These secrets will finally stop any confusion you have regarding Chapter 5's storyline, which is exactly why this video is so important. You need to watch it till the end. One of them is regarding whether Chapter 5 is a soft reboot or a full reboot, whether Chapter 4's and before storyline still matters or not, and what even is Chapter 5 exactly, what is going on. Then there is why are society and the underground so extremely similar to the Imagine Order and the Seven. Or another, what does Valeria being Geno, Hope Foundation, Montague Midas and so on? What does this mean about the future of Fortnite? Well, this last one actually reveals a really good news regarding the 7 in Fortnite storyline, so you need to watch till the end of the video for that. The Chapter 5 of Fortnite did not exist before the Big Bang Live event. There was no Valeria, there was no this map, or anything new from Chapter 5. In the Big Bang Live event, we punched the 0 point with all time and every chapter of Fortnite, past, present, and future. You can see the meteor being changed by the time machine into many different objects from different seasons of Fortnite. But why exactly would John Jones smack the 0 point with every time in Fortnite's history? Fun fact, every other storyline person gave up trying to figure this out. But I did not. Instead, I wasted 2 months of my life stressing myself out on a Fortnite rock. Why did no one else do that and only I did? Simple. Because I'm and they're probably not as dumb as me. They probably spent those 2 months doing something useful. That's probably being hating on a damn Fortnite box.
Let's give them a box, but not only are we gonna give them a cardboard box, we're gonna make it mythic.
So the reason why John Jones planned to smack the 0 point with all time is the answer to what Chapter 5 even is. In the Fortnite storyline, it was confirmed how basically the last reality won. The future was seen by many people like Geno, High Evolutionary, and many others. Every time the future was exactly the same. The end of everything, victory of the last reality. This means that the last reality has already won in the past storyline we had. And they were destroying every reality during the time we spent in Chapter 4. Then they were slowly coming towards us to finish the job at the same time. That's exactly why Season 4 was called The Last Resort, cause we lost to the last reality. But with Geno coming to the island, a last and final chance to escape from the last reality got revealed. That's being the time machine. And how did we save ourselves in Chapter 4 using the time machine? Well, we learned how our own timeline is basically worthless now. Time itself has confirmed how the last reality has already won. So what we did was at this moment smacking the 0 point with all time. This right here completely got rid of our time. It got rid of Chapter 1, Chapter 2 is gone, 3 and 4, all of them are gone, they don't exist anymore. Then with those being destroyed, the 0 point took the entire time we had in the past and rebuilt a whole entire new timeline through it. That's why Chapter 5 of Fortnite is exactly the same time as Chapter 2. Confirmed by many things like the crash plane from Chapter 2 being here as well and much more. But yet this map is insanely different from what we remember. That's because, as I said, the 0 point consumed our past time, Chapter 1 to Chapter 4, and then created a whole new time starting in Chapter 5, which was created based around the elements of our past chapters 1 to 4, but extremely altered and different. So right now we're living in an alternate timeline of our own original Chapter 1 to Chapter 4 timeline. This is actually the exact same thing as what happened in Season X. The Chapter 1 end event ate up the entire Omniverse too, but on this one we fed the 0 point time as well. That's exactly why back then Chapter 3 was Chapter 1 but extremely different. The 0.8 the map and created an alternate version of it. Now in the Big Bang instead of the map. This time we fed the 0 point time itself. So then it created an alternate time based around what we used to have. While currently the chapter 5 is at the same time as chapter 2 we used to have. Meaning that the chapter 1 existed within this timeline too. But we didn't get to see how it looked or how it was. There are many things to prove that we did not see the past of this timeline. One of those being how old this location on the map is. So why did we not get to see the past of this timeline? Well, I just said that why Jon Jones did this was because his mission was to save every single person on the chapter 4 map. That was the whole point of traveling to chapter 1. The way Jon Jones saved us was, while time was being recreated and altered after the 0.8 hit, with the rebirth of the Omniverse, which this scene in the event was us seeing the Omniverse and time being reborn and expanded, as we see it happening from the outside of the Omniverse. This is kind of like a bubble of creation. There is something similar to it in real life as well actually. But what happens right here? We go inside of the bubble and see ourselves in the Omniverse. What's contained within the bubble? Time and realities. Outside this bubble, by the way, time does not exist, only inside of it. Why are we floating in a space here though with much other things? Well, that's how Jon Jones saved us. Valeria, Montague, none of those people experienced this. They were inside the chapter 5 island once it happened. Only the people from chapter 4 and other chapters experienced this. And that's exactly how Jones saved us. We do not belong inside chapter 5 and this world. Jones pulled us outside chapter 1 to chapter 4 and then threw us in the Omniverse. Every single character from the past story experienced the Big Bang and all of this. And right in the end, as we do too, we all got dropped into the chapter 5 map. A whole new timeline we did not exist within before. And all of us were thrown right into this tiny island, with objects from our timeline thrown on it too. Why do you think objects from chapter 1 to chapter 2 to even chapter 3 and 4 exist here, just thrown on the ground like this? Well, the answer is very simple. These things were thrown from a place like the sky into somewhere they do not belong within, like we did. So there you go, that's your answer. The chapter 5 and everything in it is built based around chapter 1 to chapter 4, and the time of chapter 5 is extremely altered than what we remember, as we the people like Ageless and all the old characters do not belong here. We forced ourselves in, and that right there explains why Valeria is Geno, Montague, Midas and so on, and its map and all the people in it are no more the same. But just like how chapter 5 map takes elements from the chapter 2 map, every single new storyline character also has elements from some old Fortnite characters built within them. They were born with it. So let's start explaining how exactly this works. While the chapter 5's timeline is a new one, then also alter of our last one taking elements of old. The map itself being new, while also the alter of the chapter 2 map taking elements of it. So every single person who originates on the chapter 5 islands and time, also just like the map itself, they are alternate forms newly created, while also take elements from the older storyline characters. But to understand which older storyline characters this chapter 5 people are built based around, and that's regarding its factions. In the Fortnite storyline, there always have been 3 core factions. A full villain, which was the last reality, a middle one between good and evil, which was the Imagine Order, and the heroes faction being the 7. Well, chapter 5 sticks to the same core idea. The evil is the still last reality, while the middle has changed into the society. Yes, the society is the alternate form of the Imagine Order. It is built to be the same as the Imagine Order of this alternate timeline. That's why they fully control the island. All of the technology and everything on the map is theirs, and they are studying the 0 points like the IO did, while they have a vision for this island just like the Imagine Order's imagination and vision. Even the logos are kind of similar, because the IO's logo was built to mostly represent the double-sided island, while having a core middle part of the logo, just like how the society's core part is the middle too, the vision. Then the 2 hands to me are yet again representations of the double-sided islands, protecting what's in the middle, that's being the vision, also the 0 point. So now we got our alternate Imagine Order, while the heroes who used to be the 7, our new the 7 are now the Underground. This faction is extremely new. It's kind of like seeing the early days of a new 7 being created, and it is exactly the same idea in every way as the 7 were. A person who used to be part of the society being Hope quits, and instead she creates a faction founding it to become the Underground, to take down what she used to be part of, because she believes it is getting corrupted. This is basically identical to the reason the 7 were created created. So yes, the Underground is the 7 of this new alternate timeline, but they're extremely young and a new faction, so a long way is left for them to take. While now, the Underground and the Society cannot be Ghost and Shadow, because one, Ghost and Shadow were fake. Both of them were small factions under the IO, so the map would not be under the Society's name if it was Ghost Alter, and the Ghost and Shadow war was fake. It was a distraction. While Underground, the war they're starting is identical to what the 7 started, and it is a real war, not a fake one. So no, they're not Ghost or Shadow. They are Society being the Alter of the Imagine Order, and Underground's Alter of the 7. Now, why is that important? Well, that makes it extremely simple to find out who from the Chapter 5 storyline is an alternate from the oldest storyline people. Which oldest storyline character do these new guys take elements from? Well, starting with Valeria, she's simply alternate Geno. She is the Geno of this world, the leader of society. While just like Geno, she's in search of power to reach great vision of the society. She even was meant to have grey hair just like Geno to tease her connection to him even more. But that was changed to red because of her new Phoenix powers. Then Montague, this one is obvious, I made a whole video around it. He is the Alter of Midas, who also worked with the Imagine Order but betrayed them. Montague has a yacht insanely similar to Midas's, as the elevator doors of his castle hotel are identical to Midas's. Then he is a crime lord just like Midas is, and he has diamond powers which are the alteration of Midas's gold powers. Then scars at the same eye as Midas. And for more proof on this one, you have to watch this video, link in the description. Now we got Oscar, who should be our new Meow Souls. The buff and thick and all of that. Oh my god, god damn! I'm not a fairy, I swear. The brute of this faction, who a cat-loving person, is actually interested in him a lot. Just like how in our timeline, Lynx was interested in Meow Souls and they got married. Now we got Peter Griffin, which works for the Society just like how Deadpool worked for Ghost, who is a faction of IO. Peter is also an alternate collab that was meant to be Deadpool, but in the Chapter 5 timeline instead we got him. Then Nisha, the alter of your mother. So that should be all the Society members I could figure out. I'm not really sure of the other ones like Killian. You can think yourself that who their alternate versions of and tell me in the comments. I would love to read your theories. But now let's talk about the Underground instead. First, I wanna talk about John Jones. This is our own Jones from Chapter 4, not an alternate or anything. So would he have a new alter form of him in Chapter 5 like Geno having Valeria and so on? Well, it is very possible to me that I have not seen a Society member that is really similar to him. If you see a member betray the Society and feel hurt by them, then that should be the alter of John Jones. But now we have the one. The reason I even made this video. Oh god. The tweet I made just to see people's reaction to what I have discovered, and oh yeah. Just like always, Twitter did not disappoint. So yeah, let's explain how hope is foundation. Like, did The Rock really say, I'm done, it's time to become a woman? Then grab the knife and yeah, I'm not gonna say the rest. Okay, that part of the tweet when I said The Rock is now a woman, that was a joke. That was just something that came to my mind when I figured everything out and I was like, oh, that would be kind of funny. Hope is the alternate foundation, the foundation of Chapter 5, just like the other ones I just told you about. She was created and born with some elements of the Rock within her. Foundation was a very high up, a close person to Geno, and he together with Geno worked within IO. But then he senses Geno getting corrupted and therefore quits IO, swearing to take down his friend Geno for the better of the Omniverse. And in that way founding a faction that was focused on taking down the IO, which in future was called the 7. That is identical again or extremely similar to the origin of the Underground. This time sister of leader of society. Leader being the person who is the alter of Geno, Valeria. Hope senses the society getting corrupted. She quits the society and swears to first take down her sister Valeria and then the society. Just like Foundation swearing to take down Geno then the IO. So cause of it, Hope, just like the Foundation again, founded a new faction called the Underground to focus on taking down Valeria and the society. So yes, Hope's storyline so far is completely identical to Foundation's origin story. She is the alternate Foundation created to be the hero of Chapter 5's timeline. While her being the sister of Valeria could mean that if so, Geno and Foundation were brothers, and that would explain why they knew each other so extremely well. But that's just a theory. Oh lore theory. And for now, you finally know how yes, Society is the alternate IO, Underground's alternate 7, Valeria alter Geno, and Hope alternate of Foundation. But why did I say that this is extremely good news for the future of Fortnite's storyline? What happens to our original IO, 7 and Foundation? Where are they? Let me begin cooking. While Underground is the 7 of Chapter 5, Society Imagine Order of Chapter 5. That does not mean our own Imagine Order and the 7 are gone. It actually means the opposite, and it is extremely good news. First of all, Society and Underground being alternate versions of our past factions means we will not be seeing members of the IO and the 7 be recasted. They will not be changed and altered much, and instead they will actually mostly stay the same, as they have always been and return. Instead of changing the factions we knew and loved, Fortnite created new versions of them to mess with. While yes, the 7 do still exist, the Imagine Order still does exist as well. The Imagine Order even got confirmed to still be there in the LEGO Storylines trailer. But why do they still exist? To understand, we need to see how the past storyline we were wrong and it still matters in Chapter 5. The thing I said from day 1 of this season, and thankfully it is mostly confirmed now. From people of the past chapters being thrown onto this new map, to them turning it to live together in a new house, or another place on the map like the rig, and Thunder trying to keep his restaurant going, to past characters getting new designs proving they still exist, and especially the Ageless one, how his new ice powers were earned in Chapter 4 and not within Chapter 5. I proved that in this video. Then to now we're even getting characters with dialogues, many of them that talk to each other about the storylines that happened within Chapter 4 and past, proving how it still matters to this date thankfully, especially Chapter 4 out of all of them. And I just said how the Ageless we got right now got his powers at the end of that chapter. But also 2 more super important things happened in there. One being how the last reality actually has the 7 captured in Chapter 4, and they're right now corrupting the 7, turning them into evil, mindless soldiers. Then there is how the last reality were the ones who manipulated Dr. Son into wanting to time travel. I fully explain how in this video, link in the description. So if the last reality wanted us to go to the season OG and do what we did, while they had the 7 captured, corrupting them, that to me means one thing: the last reality is still with us, teased by their chest on the reality 0, and they have the corrupted 7 still with them. So thankfully no, Chapter 4's story still matters, and all the things like the corrupted 7, Chalice of Thingy, and Triarch rulers, they still will matter in this or next chapters. And this is exactly where the Undergrounds, the new 7 faction, plays a part within. They are currently in their early days, the faction was just built and it is a small. I believe that once the faction becomes big and powerful, it will be around the same time as the corrupted 7 will be sent to the islands by the last reality. And at that time, John Jones and Hope and all the other new members will be the ones to save the 7 from the last reality. So the new 7 faction of the storyline saves the true 7. How masterpiece of a storyline would that be? That also will be exactly when John Jones will finally earn the 7 title of the legend, and finally will get his own 7 suit going back with the family he made in Chapter 3. I swear if that happens, that will make everyone love the Fortnite storyline like so much more. So that's how I believe our own original 7 will play a part within Chapter 5. Fortnite could also make the Chapter 1 7 come back to the storyline instead of the Chapter 4 ones, but that would be a terrible choice honestly. For now on to the Imagine Order, the ones who already are within many realities at the moment, researching them in secret, and gathering their powerful materials to become stronger than ever before. Is this also the same Imagine Order from the past Chapter 2 and Chapter 3? The good news is yes, it should be. Within the Resistance storyline, Geno tricked the 7 and escaped the island faking his death. He did it because he knew what was coming and how it was impossible to stop it. But he also knew that an opportunity would happen for him to strike, to destroy both the 7 and last reality. So in the entire Chapter 4 storyline, Geno was preparing. He was making his team bigger and bigger, evolving them stronger than ever before. So they and our same Geno be pulled through time and thrown into the Chapter 5 timeline just like us. While in there, they're gathering lots of materials from random realities, becoming even stronger. Once the right time comes, hitting their strike, returning to the reality 0. And either since the society is the alternate IO, they join together, or the IO destroys the society as well. Then after restoring order on the island, as we finally get to see the true reveal of Geno, a character who the Fortnite community would go crazy over when revealed. One who Ageless is a snapshot of him too. Restoring order over the island, making the last reality cannot defeat them once more. That is exactly what the next Fortnite storyline comics will be written around. So I cannot wait for that. Now you see how wonderful the future of Chapter 5's storyline is, and how Society, the Altar of Io, Underground, Altar of the Seven, Hope, Altar of the Foundation, and Valeria, Altar of Geno. But before they return, there will be insanely important storyline happening within the next season of Fortnite. Things like frozen secrets under this huge ice. What is inside of the mysterious box and what does it do? What exactly is Valeria looking for? And how will she bring the Greek gods onto the island herself? And why Society stole Peely to use him and manipulate John Jones? Click on this video to get answers to massive storyline coming in the next season before the return of Io and the Seven.